Hello everybody, this is John and welcome to John's Long Box. Today I've taken out a comic that I've loved. Comic has been in my fond memories ever since it came out. If I remember correctly, it's 1992. This is 1982. This is the Legion of Superheroes. This is the conclusion. This is it, the cataclysmic climax of the Great Darkness Saga. This Legion of Superheroes 294. This is a giant-sized issue for $1. Comics Code Authority, DC, special giant-sized issue. Keith Giffen, Larry Marsdett as the inker. And you see right here, that's a little color guide to tell you what color to guide. And this was a big deal. And the other video I talked about the 80s was DC's. The 80s for DC was all about the Teen Titans. But if the next biggest thing was Legion of Superheroes, I think it was bigger than all the other comics. I mean, DC was on fire in the 80s. All comics were on fire in the 80s, but DC had the new Teen Titans, and if you ask me, the Legion of Superheroes, and it was this storyline that really launched them into the stratosphere. For those of you who don't know, the Legion of Superheroes is they encapsulate everything that's hokey about DC Comics. I mean, that's Sun Boy, that's a Star Boy, that's Light Lass, Bouncing Boy. Look at these names, okay? But that's Wildfire. He's amazing. Superboy, Element Lad. So they have these hokey, old-fashioned names. And it was a Superboy in the '60s went to the future, and he discovered this team. And the team was originally founded by Saturn Girl, Cosmic Boy, and Lightning Lad. And they saved the life of billionaire R.J. Brand. And he, in return, as gratitude, funded them, and they made a headquarters that looked like a rocket ship. And it was, Flash Gordon superhero stuff. And over time, it, like everything, it evolved. By the time it gets to the 80s, of course, that 60s hokiness is still prevalent. And I think improved upon. So I remember making fun of my friend my friend Mike got me into the Legion of Superheroes, and I was making fun of the names. Oh, Sun Boy, Bouncing Boy, Matter Eater Lad. And he was just like, yeah, I know, get past that. It's a good comic. You're only depriving. And I did. And he was absolutely 100% right. So this is one of my first Legion of Superhero comics. I actually got a later one and then bought these back issues because they kept referring to this. Okay, so some deep lore. Jack Kirby created the New Gods. Jack Kirby left Marvel, went to DC, and he created the New Gods. The New Gods was based on biblical stories. So you had like Isaiah, who was the High Father, who was like the stand-in for God, or the prophets of the Old Testament. And he was the ruler of New Genesis, which was like a heaven. It was a planet where everything was good, the food was in abundance, light, everybody was happy. And then this is Darkseid. He ruled Apocalypse with an iron fist. So he was the devil, whereas Isaiah, the High Father, was an angel or God. And the people of New Gods, the gods themselves, were like named after angels and stuff like that. And they were demons, and he had a force of stormtroopers and just ruled the planet with iron fist. I have to go back to my Dungeons & Dragons knowledge, and he is the embodiment of lawful evil. There's rules to be followed. He is oppressive order, whereas the New Gods are kind of like chaotic good. Yeah, do what you want, but be good. We're not going to worry too much about the law. But they've been at war for millennia, and they had a peace treaty. And of course, he violated it. And Jack Kirby never finished the New Gods saga. He went back to Marvel, and they kind of didn't use Darkseid out of respect for Jack Kirby. They didn't really use him for like 10 years. So this brought back this character. So this is 3,000 years in the future, and they keep referring to like a cataclysmic event. And Darkseid was killed at some point 1,000 years ago in the past, our time. Because that's kind of what Jack Kirby was alluding to, but he never really finished that story. So this is taking the unfinished New God story, and this is 3,000 years in the future where Darkseid even regenerates from death. That's how powerful he is. And he comes back and threatens, and they don't even believe he exists. They think he's just a myth. There's no apocalypse. What is this? So we'll get back into that as we open the comic. So it wasn't until the mid 90s, 10 years after this comic, that Grant Morrison showed the death of Darkseid. The atom, Ray Palmer, shrunk down to subatomic size, penetrated his armor, and expanded in his brain, and just scrambled his brains. Boom. The atom is really super powerful if you think about his ability, and killed Darkseid. So Superman's going toe-to-toe, losing the fight, and the atom goes in and kills him. And so that, even though it was 10 years after this comic, this kind of filled in the gaps of how Darkseid was killed. I'm sure that's not what Jack Kirby had planned, but Jack Kirby has passed. Okay, so here we go. This is the Legion of Superheroes. That's a great splash page. That's like a movie poster. I don't know why, but it reminds me of like Apocalypse Now, Darkseid. The epic conclusion of the Great Darkness Saga. The problem with every comic has like one or two stories that just define it. The Fantastic Four has the coming of Galactus, and the Hulk now has World War Hulk. Well, the Great Darkness Saga is the great story from the Legion of Superheroes. And the problem with it is that X-Men has Days of Future Past. Geez, that was a one-issue story that they're still revisiting and exploring it 40 years later, But this, every time DC reboots, they retell the story. It kind of gets annoying, Don't retell the story, create new ones. So here we have the credits. Paul Levitz and Keith Giffen were the Marv Wolfman and George Perez for the Legion of Superheroes. They just elevated into the stratosphere. Larry Malstead is the inker. Keith Giffen, he has like a couple of different styles. Sometimes I love him, sometimes I can't stand him. I remember saying he was box office comic book store poison for a while. So what do I know? And there we go. So the Legion now, they sent a squad. Remember, there's like 30 members of the team. So they went to this planet because like, what's going on? They keep seeing reports this planet it's just in ruins, and they don't realize it, but they're walking on Apocalypse, Darkseid's world. It's just devastated at this point. So there you got Starboy. If you remember my JSA Justice Society story, I talked about. So here he is. That's Shadow Lass, I think. That's Cosmic Boy, Brainiac 5, Element Lad, Ultra Boy, and that's Phantom Girl. And there's Wildfire and Dawnstar. I haven't looked at this 20 years, and I just remember. And here, Brainiac 5 is talking about, like, I think there's no evidence to support this because there's been no reports. Because there was a great cataclysm that they always refer to in our future, but their past, that nearly destroyed civilization. And that they've been talking about it for years in this comic, but they never really explain it. So the cataclysm, Star Trek does the same thing, the Great War or whatever. And then society rebuilt and became more like better or whatever. And so they're thinking, nobody has ever heard of it. This might be the world that started that great cataclysm, and they're tying it to Darkseid. And here's another squad circling around. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I remember what's going on. But this is Sunboy. He has like star powers, like flame and heat. And the Invisible Kid. That's Dream Girl. She could go to sleep and get precognition abilities, and sometimes she could channel it while she's awake. Keep in mind, not everybody in the Legion of Superheroes goes out and fights Darkseid. Some of them are support characters, and she's an excellent. She becomes the team leader for a while. They do a pretty good job with her powers. This is the White Witch. She's not a member yet. She joins at the end of this issue, and if I remember correctly, these two are sisters, and they come from a world where after they colonized the planet, I think there was like a civil war, and they were isolated, and they reverted back to like a medieval society. Okay, so they're discussing everything, and she's like, "This is bad. The entire planet of Daxam, 3 billion people, each one as powerful as Superman. Daxam was a colony of Krypton that survived into the future, and their famous superheroes, Mon-El, who's every bit as powerful as Superman. He's also a Legion member. So Mon-El's people, the Daxamites, are all mentally enslaved by Darkseid, They don't know it's Darkseid yet, but so you got 3,000 Superman, 3 billion Superman destroying crap. So they're calling in all the reserves. So here we got the Legion of Substitute Heroes. These were the people who couldn't make it. You know, that's Fire Lad, Polar Boy, Chlorophyll Kid, and geez, that's gonna drive me nuts that I can't remember his name. I think that's Stone Boy. So they call in Supergirl, who quit the team a couple of years earlier, but she's like, oh, I wonder what must be terrible. So here she comes back. They're calling in everybody, and here's the Daxamites are fighting Thanagar, the planet where Hawkman's people come from. That's not Hawkman. Remember I said that Hawkman has a very confusing backstory? See, this is just a random Daxamite using his heat vision just to fight Thanagar. Thanagar is the Hawk world, and apparently they visited ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, and a ship crashed, and that got Carter halt, and they go back and forth. You know, sometimes this, sometimes that. It's kind of confusing. And then Jeff Johns, instead of just shedding stuff, it's all true. Even the contradictory stuff is true. It's multi-dimensional traveling. It actually came across as better when he explained it than me. So these are just that's their police and military force, the Hawkmen of Thanagar. And here's Daxamites just wrecking stuff. And that's Dev M of the Wanderers. He's a Daxamite, but he hasn't been controlled, so he's fighting his brethren. So they're on equal footing fighting, but he probably has the experience. The Daxamites do not have a weakness to kryptonite. They have a weakness to lead. So the Daxamites kind of became like isolationists. So they all have the power of Superman, and like Superman, they're normal humans on their home planet, and then they don't really leave because lead is kind of common element. But in space, they're pretty powerful. You know, there's how much lead are you going to encounter while flying through space? So if they could leave their atmosphere, they become super powerful and they fight everybody. But Darkseid doesn't care about their weakness to lead. They're cannon fodder. For some reason, I just always like that costume. All right, and that's Evolvo Lad. So he evolved his brain, become super intelligent. He's the leader of the Wanderers. I think that's Neon Queen. That's Duplicate Boy. Looks like a clown, right, with that costume. But Duplicate Boy could copy anybody's power. So he has any one power that he needs at a time. So he's super invulnerability, but he can't lift that spaceship. He has super speed, but he doesn't have super invulnerability. And that's Gas Girl. These are I think they're called the Wanderers. They're another super team. Allies of the Legion. Everybody's getting involved. This is Darkseid. And this, Star Frontiers. This is a role-playing game from TSR. Whereas Dungeons & Dragons was generic fantasy, this is generic sci-fi. And I used to complain. I got disenchanted with Dungeons & Dragons pretty early, and I switched to a game system called Villains Vigilantes. And I like Villains Vigilantes because to me it made more mathematical sense. Like, you can have an 18 strength, 18 endurance, and then you still roll and have 2 hit points. Yeah, you get a modifier, but you get what I'm saying. So whereas in V&V, if you have an 18 strength, 18 endurance, that gives you a little mathematical formula that you multiply together to get you hit points. So you could be first level in V&V and have 100 hit points. Or you could be first level in V&V and have 7 hit points, depending upon your stats, because everything is interrelated. Not kind of... D&D was the first. Doesn't mean it was the best. Well, then there's Star Frontiers that takes that mathematical and just went nuts with it. I remember one game we were playing. I have fond memories of playing the game. I was basically made like a Han Solo character, bounty hunting across the galaxy. Then you have to you have to like overhaul your ship, and it's just math. It was like math, the role playing game. So I thought Villains Vigilantes was a nice sweet spot. This looks like some nice Bill Willingham artwork of Fables fame. Okay, so here's just chaos going on. This is the Legion of Superheroes fighting random Daxamites. That's Night Girl. That's Polar Boy. That's Flame Boy. That's Color Kid. They're fighting, and her power is like she's super powerful in darkness. You throw some light on her, and she loses her power. So she's also a good space fighting. And here's Dev M, Gas Girl, and Duplicate Lad. Everybody, all hands on deck. Darkseid has an army of 3 billion Supermans. And here, this is Lightlass. And she's the sister of Starboy. Starboy and Lightlass have gravity powers. Starboy at this point can only make things heavier, and she can only make things lighter. So she has like a feather on her symbol. And this is Block. Block is the resident Pinocchio of the team. In my concept of the non-human character that wishes they were human. Although it's not as extreme for him because he looks like what his people look like. He's an alien from a silicon-based race of people, and he's just super invulnerable. Yeah, he's strong, but he's not like Superboy or Mon-El level of strength. But his main ability is you can't hurt him. He's just super invulnerable. And then this is the trope, the powerful child. So he was a baby last issue. Now he's a toddler, and he's growing up at phenomenal speed. And I think Dreamgirl said that he is the key to defeating Darkseid. So they're protecting him, and the Daxamites are trying to get to him. So they're at the epicenter of all of this madness. The power goes out. What's going on? A portal opens, and this charred being comes through, and Sunboy ain't having any of it. Blast him. Now the thing about the Legion of Superheroes is they're all super powerful. So when he blasts you, it's like you're getting hit with the sun. You know, like he could hurt Superman. So Lightning Lad could generate lightning that would hurt Superman. So they're pretty powerful. The Legion of Superheroes could hold off planets. So that charred being takes off. For those of you who know deep lore, you probably figured out who that is. I'll get to him later. Keep you in suspense. Maelstrom fighting. Just so much is going on. And I'd like to point out that we're only on to page 12, and so much backstory, so much stuff is going on, so much dialogue. I mean, if I was reading this, I'm just talking about it, and I'm up to 16 minutes. If I was reading this, I'd be I keep threatening to break out a modern Marvel or DC comic, because maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know the comparison. So that's a good idea. I'll find one. So a Daxamite child is going after Chameleon Boy. Chameleon Boy is another non-human. He's an alien he's a Durlian from the planet Durla, and everybody on Durla has these shape-changing abilities. They're like the Skrulls, and they're not trusted, stuff like that. But he's a good guy, and if I remember correctly, this isn't his true form either. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But some of them look like squids, whatever. But they're shape changers. So he's hiding from basically a Superman child. So this would be like super adolescent. He's coming to get him, and Vladidus appears. They're on a prison world, and all the destruction freed Vladidus, and Vladidus is one being who could take on the entire Legion. He's this destructive monster. He's like 30 feet tall and super strong, super invulnerable. And look at that brain. He's also got super mental abilities, but he's got the intellect of a child. And it's really sad, actually, because they didn't know this. For like 30 years, he was plaguing the Legion of Supervillains. And Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl had children, twins, but they really had triplets. And I think it was Darkseid stole one of them in Darkness and mutated him and tortured him until he became this. So this is actually the child of two of the founding members of the Legion of Superheroes. Man, yeah, that was Shakespeare to me, guys. Don't make fun of me. So here is the White Witch contemplating everything. Look at all this destruction, chaos going on. No, we need to win this. The galaxy's at stake, and I think everything overwhelms her, and she wakes up here. That's Saturn Girl. She's the telepath of the group. This is Duo Damsel. She could split herself into two. I think at one point she was Triplicate Lass, and one of her doubles was killed, and she became Duo Damsel. And she realized she wasn't going out on adventure material, so she runs the academy and trains the new recruits. And this is her husband, Bouncing Boy. He can inflate himself and bounce around, so he has like limited stretching and bounces and whatever. And here, that's Cosmic Boy. He's got magnetic powers. So she's just talking about how hopeless the situation, everything's. Keep in mind, these aren't the go out and fight bad guys. She's telepathic, so she's like a mental switchboard. She keeps everybody abreast of the situation. Bouncing Boy, what's he going to do about Cosmic? Why is Cosmic Boy here? He's got magnetic powers. He's on par with Magneto. And a commercial for bubblegum. And now the White Witch goes out and messes up some ships. And here's Darkseid. He revealed himself last issue. So it was a big deal because nobody knew. And again, this character wasn't used for 10 years. So when Darkseid actually showed up, it was like, what? Darkseid? Out of respect for Kirby, they didn't use him. And here's this charred freak. Again, I'll get back to him. So he's talking, even you, a mere mockery of my child. So this is Orion. This is Darkseid's son. He cloned him from his dead tissue, and we have this hideous freak that's subservient to him because he doesn't have the will and the memories of the being that he was cloned from. So Darkseid is, still mocking his son who betrayed him 1,000 years after his death. That's how evil this guy is. So he's telling them they're challenging a god. I'll destroy them. This is the Legion headquarters, and that's Colossal Boy. And they gave everybody a good backstory. His mother is the president of the United Planets. That's like the Federation. And he's out fighting. He could grow like gigantic planet size. And here's more of Darkseid's creations just mocking him, and he's fighting. And of course, his girlfriend is Shrinking Violet, so she has the opposite power. And here's Shrinking Violet. I think she's going through the bloodstream of this thing. And here she's creating she's basically killing it. The white blood cells are attacking her. And not a second too soon. It's just coming out through the nose. So Grant Morrison didn't invent that idea. So here, look at this wonderful fight scene. So here's all the Legion, all hands on deck, even Bouncing Boy who teaches the recruits. They got to fight because each Daxamite has the power of a Superman. So this is Wildfire. He's the Pinocchio of the team, even more than Block. Why? Because he looks pretty human, but he's a collection of plasma. He's heightened. He's like fiery gas. Just picture like a solar prominence of the sun contained in a suit. So he doesn't have a physical body. This containment suit is what gives him his human appearance in this visor. So the accident that gave him his powers destroyed his body, and only his will keeps this. The will and the suit keeps him in a form, and he has like little holes in his thing, and he could fire out blasts and use it for propulsion. He could survive in space because he doesn't have a body. He doesn't have needs of the flesh. But the thing is, he's in love with Dawnstar, and Dawnstar's in love with him, but her people won't let them get together because what good is being with an energy being if you can't produce children? So he's the Pinocchio. He wants to be human. And at one point he professes his love. It doesn't matter, run away with me. Dawnstar says, I love you, but no, I got to respect the traditions of my people. And he just blows up. Boom. I remember that. Oh no, this is a random Daxamite. Daxamite. That's Lightning Lad just shooting away. Saturn Girl's using her mental abilities to mess with them. And that's Ultra Boy. Ultra Boy, that's my friend Mike's favorite superhero. Ultra Boy has all the powers of Superman, but only one at a time. So he has a Legion flight ring, so he could always fly. Every member of the Legion gets a ring, and that ring gives them the ability to fly and to communicate with each other. So he could always fly, but even without the ring, he could fly, but then that's the only power he has. So right now he must be using super strength, so he's not invulnerable. So he has to constantly monitor and switch. So he has ultra invulnerability, ultra strength, ultra speed, ultra flight, ultra vision. So whatever Superman could do, he could do, but only one at a time. And then I think that's Shadow Lass and Light Lass. Yeah, that's Shadow Lass. She's another alien. She has blue skin. And that's Mon-El's girlfriend. I don't know if we've seen Mon-El yet. In the regular time, there's a Daxamite Green Lantern who's the ultimate Green Lantern. So he's Superman and Green Lantern mixed together. So he's the most powerful of the Green Lantern Corps. So here White Witch is battling the sorceress machinations of Darkseid. Darkseid, he also knows arcane secrets. He's one of the oldest beings in the universe. And then just a powerhouse. Starcade, what is this? Oh, Saturday morning cartoons. This used to be a thing. The New Pandemonium, I don't remember that. Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show. New Meatballs and Spaghetti. That, no memory of that. Gilligan's Planet, I remember that. Sylvester Daffy and Tweety. Megafont on CBS. Meatballs and Spaghetti. I think I'll change and become a Meatballs and Spaghetti channel. Alright, so here we go. Cosmic Boy just using magnetic powers to fight. Brainiac 5, he's the super genius. Element Lad, he has the power to transform elements. So he's transforming, making lead particles. He doesn't want to kill them, so what is it? 1 lead per 1,000 will activate their vulnerability. These are all pawns. The Darkseid is mentally controlling them, so they don't want to kill them. So he's given just enough lead to cancel their powers. This is Timberwolf. Interesting story about Timberwolf. It was created by Dave Cockrum, and Dave Cockrum wanted him to be in the X-Men. So he created this character and then wanted to put him in the X-Men, and they said, for whatever reason, they put Wolverine in, and then Timberwolf and Wolverine would be redundant on the same team. They're basically the same character. So Dave Cockrum came after he left the X-Men, or maybe before, after he left the X-Men, he went to the Legion of Superheroes and introduced this character that he created. So this is their wild man with senses. And later on, kind of as a goof or an homage or whatever, they started giving him the Wolverine type hair because they're pretty much the same character. The crazy wild man. And then Darkseid's waking up, getting more powerful, and taunting with them and everything. And I forget what happened. Oh yeah, that's right. He lost an arm in a battle, and they used their advanced science to regrow an arm. So he's canceling out like things. So he's losing his arm. He's destroying Wildfire's containment suit, and one of her bodies died, and that traumatized her for a while. So he's killing another one of their bodies. So he's making them relive their most horrible fears. Bouncy Boy loses, because the ability to become a fat blob terrifies him. Dream Girl, she's kind of vain. She's beautiful and everything. That's turning her ugly. Ultra Boy getting swallowed by a beast, losing his humanity for Timberwolf. And they're all getting this. So he's just attacking them with terror. They are defeated. Of course, they always were. We shall correct our previous mistake, my son, and destroy this damnable child. So he's going after that child. I just love his arrogance. He's like, they're defeated, Master. He's like, of course, they always were defeated. Even before the fight started, they were defeated. And here we have the last survivors, who aren't the most powerful teams. Here we have Light Lass. She can make everything light. And then Shadow Girl, who could create pockets of darkness. That's it. Darkness. So what is darkness to Darkseid? He thrives. Look at that, kind of goofing on Michelangelo, Sistine Chapel. So I must have that child. He's stopping and talking to him. And tick, 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 tick. What does that sound? No, not the damnable mother box. They had these sentient computers. Jack Kirby, like I said, his imagination was borderline supernatural. All of the New Gods had these. They were basically iPhones. They were these living computers. They were alive, and they could use them for communication and just everything that you could use an iPhone for. But at the same time, they could generate warp tubes for transportation. They could heal you. And they always had these mother boxes. So here he's like, what, a mother box? What is it? And so close to triumph, and the mother box activates, and the child, that's his son, it restores him to, it overlays what he used to be. So this is Orion, Darkseid's child, and this is Isaiah, High Father. So he restored that child to its true form, and the mother box did it. And, kind of like a Deus Ex Machina, literally, the God in the machine, because the mother box is kind of like a godlike abilities. And Isaiah is threatening Darkseid. And Darkseid is realizing he's spread a little too thin. He just woke up. He's mind controlling 3 billion Daxamites. He's fighting the Legion. He's trying to regenerate his destroyed planet. So he's like, I can't win this. I'm not healed yet. So Isaiah threatens him. His son Orion jumps on him. We got triple offer over here. My cousin, the same one who had that Silver Surfer car, he had this. and filled with Matchbox cars. I used to play that all the time. So here, she's sensing a disturbance in the Force. Isaiah, Orion, and Darkseid are just fighting so that there's Kirby crackle, that they're causing molten disruption. Isaiah is restoring all the legions. You know, the Sunfire suit is repaired. And this is not my battle. You know, Darkseid is my problem, not yours. Thank you for your help. You know, and farewell. And look at this cosmic battle over here. Just fighting so much that everything's getting devastated. Or, you know, Orion is the son of Darkseid, and he was given to Isaiah, and Isaiah, the High Father, so he was raised on New Genesis. So he was taught morals and everything like that, but he still has this bestial nature. So he uses the mother box to hide his face, because his real face is demonic looking. And he gives him this handsome face, but it comes through when he loses his temper. So he was given to Isaiah as a hostage, and Isaiah, the High Father, gave his son, Scott-Free, to Darkseid. And Scott-Free becomes Mr. Miracle. And where he grows up in paradise, the High Father's son grows up in hell. And they just take joy in torturing him, and that's why he becomes Mr. Miracle, the world's greatest escape artist. Scott-Free never succumbed to the madness and despair of Darkseid and breaks out. So it kind of backfired. He was going to make High Father's son evil, and instead he created his conditions created Mr. Miracle, one of his foes, and High Father turned him good. So there you go, good always wins. And this is Metron. He shows up to watch. Metron is like an observer who's beyond them both. He was named after the angel Metatron, and so Metron's like an agent of the higher powers who just monitors the situation instead. So he defeats Orion and laughs, "I am the most powerful. What is that noise disturbing my reverie?" Darkseid, Superman or Superboy, and Supergirl, they just show up and just clobber him. You know, give everybody a moment of hope after he just utterly defeated Orion. So now he has the Omega Beams. And the Omega Beams, depending upon who writes them, they hit you, you're dead. You're just destroyed, or you get banished. So I think they just banished Superboy back to his regular time. And Supergirl channels through and starts fighting him. Boom. So this is just the Battle of Titans. Darkseid's like, oh, impressive power, but nobody can save you. So now she's fighting, resisting. Boom. Look at that. She hits Darkseid off the planet. And then he teleports behind her and just starts torturing her mind. And then I love this. Now, Desaad would have loved this. It's a shame he is no more. Desaad was that was a Jack Kirby thing. He always had toadies yes, master, well, I'll do your bidding. Desaad was his man, and he was sadistic. You know, like the Marquis de Sade, and he was his torturer. So, this is pain. I have not done this with my hands in an eternity, child. You should be honored. How Desaad would have loved this. It's a shame he is no more. So he's just crushing her head and then using his mental abilities to just torture. Look at that. You can just see she's full of pain. And then hands off Darkseid. And this is such a cool thing because everybody in the Legion of Superheroes, they had like distinctive energy signatures. So this is Brainiac 5 projecting his force field around her to protect her. This is Element Lad hitting him. This is Sun Boy, Lightning Lad. This is Wildfire. I think that's Ultra Boy's Ultra Vision. Geez, I don't even know who that is. And this is Starboy. They're all just hitting him with everything. That's the only one I don't know whose energy signature that is. Maybe it's Polar Boy. And here they are. He's just crumbling, and the team is reassembling. Oh, that was Magnetic. That was Cosmic Boy. Cosmic Boy shooting it with Magnetic Blast. So here he is, just like leaking energy, smoldering. This is the Karate Kid. He goes, "Ha, you have me? You astound me, children." And then this greatest line, "Ha, astound this, stone face." So Karate Kid, he has super karate, not just regular karate, super karate. Look, my hands are still filthy. I have a dirty job, guys. What do you want me to say? So Saturn Girl is mentally directing him, showing she could feel that he's starting to lose it. I like the way they described it. She mentally probed him in issue 2 before, and she said it was like a black hole. Probing his mind was just the depth of his power was pulling her in, and she needed help to us. So he's just blasting off Karate Kid. No, even he looks a little sad as the rest of the team is showing up. So this is Dev M. He's basically Superboy, duplicate lad. So he has whatever power is needed. So everybody's getting reinforced. They're standing around, challenging him. He's bragging. You have shattered the dreams of a god. Because, listen to me, can it be that the creature surrenders? How we'd hold him? You have one child. The light in the darkness is fading even as we watch. But remember, Darkseid cannot surrender. It is always with you, always on. The darkness is always with you, always on the fringe. And the instant you gaze into it, fear, your time will come. So he leaves. He uses his power and he sucks Apocalypse into another dimension. He realizes he bit off more than he could chew, but he vanishes. So now the planet they were on is gone, and they're just floating free in space. That's another thing. The Legion Ring also generates an atmosphere. So the Legion Ring is it bumps everybody up. They can fly, communicate, and then survive in space. So now Darkseid's taunting him from his dimension. I leave you a curse, Legionnaire. Doesn't doers of Isaiah's work. The curse, the darkness growing within you, destroying you from within. And that which is the purest of you shall be the first to go. So they're setting up a long-term story that the golden age of the Legion of Superheroes is over. So that goody golly gee whiz, aw shucks hero is over. And from now on, it's like a regular modern comic. It really is good. Darkseid's influences, they start to bicker. Some of them leave and splinter off. There's infighting. It really is like the end of one era and the beginning of another era. And you can't capture lightning in a bottle again. There's a graphic novel of the Great Darkness Saga. Just get it. Just get it. And here is Brainiac. That was another thing. They always had like love interests and a little bit of soap opera. And Brainiac 5 was carrying a torch for Kara, Supergirl, for years. And now he's telling her, I'm over you now. She never gave him the time of day. I'm over you now. And she's like, really? What a shame. Here I was starting to think how cute you were. He said, cute. She did say cute. Quirrell, that's his real name. You may be smart, but you got to improve your sense of timing. So he basically friend-zoned Supergirl, and Supergirl, even though she had already friend-zoned Brainiac 5 years ago. So there you go. I don't know if this impact means as much to you as it means to me, but reading this story, reading everything that was going on at the time, this was just phenomenal. If they ever do make a Legion of Superhero movies, this is the movie they're going to make. This is the Infinity War. This is World War Hulk. This was great. And it ushered in a new age of modern storytelling in the Legion. And it lasted, I'd say, until the 90s. And I still have a full box of like 30, 40, 50 more Legion comics to read. So there we go. And I got some of the reboots, whatever. I don't think there's any current Legion of Superhero comics being published by DC. And there you go. That's the Legion of Superheroes. Wonderful comic. Get the Great Darkness Saga trade paperback. You will not regret it. All right. Thanks a lot. Please like the videos. Please subscribe. And please share. My sub count is getting stagnant. All right. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.